Good morning, friends. Good afternoon, family and sacred community. This is Reverend Ahmondra coming to you live from Carlsbad, California. I want to say thank you to all of you who sent me prayers and greetings while I was out there in the world. It is so good to be back in California. I left here on February 11th. Going to a conference in Washington, D.C. I left Washington, D.C. I went to New York. I defended my dissertation. I am now Dr. Reverend Ahmondra McClendon. Yay! I left New York. I went back to Washington, D.C. with plans on going back to New York a second time. That did not happen. I started getting some information that something was going on in the world. So I started making preparations to come back home. Unfortunately, my favorite cousin passed away in Cleveland, and I made a decision to fly to Cleveland before I came to California. And when I got on that plane and I started hearing about what was going on in the world, I knew that the normal that I was familiar with was beginning to change. Something was going on in the world. When I got to Cleveland and we drove around the city and we didn't see cars on the road and shops were closed and stores didn't have all of the products in them, things began to look quite differently. When I finally did get on the plane to come back to California, I had a rude awakening when I walked through the airports and it was empty. When I got on the plane and there were only 30 of us on the plane and the flight attendants could only provide us with cans of water and a bagged snack. When I got off the plane, my Uber driver had on a mask and gloves. And when I reached my home, it was quiet. No one was out. The streets were quiet. I knew that the society that I knew had shifted. That what I knew to be normal was no longer normal. That I was looking at a new normal. This morning, I want to talk about facing a new normal from a divine perspective. But before we can look at a new normal, we have to reflect back on what normal looked like for us just 3 weeks ago, a month ago. And this is important because in order to understand where we are right now, we have to identify where we came from. Because each one of us is stepping into this new normal from a different perspective. And it's coloring our outlook on our life today. We lived in a society that was so busy. We moved fast. We were moving at breakneck speed. We were doing something all of the time. We were always so busy. So what was your normal? Did you put others ahead of you because you always wanted to do for them? Did you put off completing personal tasks for yourself because you were busy doing something else out in the world? And what you were doing was great, but you put off what you needed to do for yourself. Was there chaos and confusion always happening in your world because you were moving so fast? Were you trying to get things done but never had the time to get it done? Did you have dreams and aspirations that kind of just faded because you were always busy doing something else? Did you like what you were doing and just wanted to do more of it? Whatever your normal looked like, let us understand that today we have a new normal. I want us to really take a look at what normal looked like for us. Did you neglect your health because you didn't eat properly, you didn't sleep properly, you didn't exercise? Did you neglect those important relationships because every time you got ready to call them, something happened and you didn't call, or it got too late and you kept saying, I got to call them, I got to call them? Did you neglect your environment? You come home, you're so busy, you just throw things down. I'll pick it up tomorrow, I'll pick it up later. Until you looked around and everything you had was just all around you. And you were too busy moving too fast to stop and declutter, take care of your environment. Did you neglect your higher self? When I say higher self, I mean that part of us that I call our God center, our beingness, where you're so busy doing that you were a human doer and had stopped becoming or being a human being. That's what we are. You might have gone to church and participated, but you were always doing. When I talk about neglecting that God center of ourselves, I'm talking about, did you take time to sit down and meditate and contemplate and just sit quietly and give that divine presence within you an opportunity to talk to you and tell you what should be going on in your life? Basically, I'm asking you, did you have a normal way of being where you took care of yourself along with taking care of everything else in the world? If your way of being did not take care of yourself, then guess what? We have an opportunity today to create a new normal for ourselves. And if your normal way of being was that you did take care of yourself, you did make time for yourself, guess what? You now have an opportunity to help others begin to create a new normal. It kind of feels like our life came to a screeching halt. Like we were on the freeway doing 70 miles an hour and then all of a sudden somebody just turned the engine off in the car. And we just came to a screeching halt. Now, what could be happening right now as we hear about this silent killer making its way across the world? Fears may be coming up for us. We might be feeling trapped, locked in, helpless, powerless. There might be emotions of feelings of loneliness or depression or sadness. Maybe you're feeling a little anxious and worried because someone you know is ill. Or maybe your family is far, far away, like my family is, on an island. And you're just worried, praying, knowing that if anything occurs on a small island, it could take the whole island over. But today, I want to talk about facing this new normal with a divine perspective. I have decided how I'm going to face living in a new world where everything has changed. My new way of being is going to be how I dictate it to be. Because I am a divine being, it makes perfect sense that I look at my new normal from a divine perspective. Yesterday, I decided that I was going to replant my little garden that I have on my balcony because I want to sit out on this little balcony and I want it to be a place of refuge for me, a place that I could retreat to and feel the sun on my face and read and just meditate or listen to music. I want it to be that little bitty space for me to go to. So what I have to do right now is go out there and take care of all of the plants that didn't get taken care of because I was gone. In the Science of Mind magazine for next month, Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of Science of Mind, talks about the garden of the mind. And what happens when it is impregnated with the creative power of life? Meaning, suppose that our mind represented our garden, and the soil was our faith. And the seeds that we planted in that soil were our thoughts and opinions. We all know what happens when we take a healthy seed and we plant it in fertile soil. It grows and it becomes an abundance of beauty. Our mental attitudes toward life are like the seeds that we can sow in the garden of our mind. When we take thoughts of love, hope, acceptance, compassion, empathy, and we drop them into fertile ground, they begin to grow. The fertile ground is our faith. Faith that there is a power and a presence that will take our thoughts and multiply them. A power that is with us all the time, no matter what is happening around us. Ernest Holmes wrote, "In preparing your mental gardens for the harvest of faith, you must break down all the doubt and unbelief. You must uproot the weeds of fear and anxiety. You must rake the garden free from obstacles so that your thoughts may flow freely through it. And above all else, you must cultivate a childlike faith and expectancy." Basically, whatever's going on in your mind, if it's confusion, if it's fear, if it's anxiety, now is the time to begin to move those out of the way so that we can begin to plant different seed thoughts inside of the garden of our mind. For me, having a divine perspective means this. I look at what is right in front of me, and then I decide how I want to be with the circumstances. See, I have that choice. I don't have to allow my circumstances around me to take over and put me in a space that's not conducive to my well-being and my health and the well-being and health of those in the world. Because remember, we're all connected. So when I get into a state of confusion, I'm putting that confusion into someone else's life also. A divine perspective means using this time of solitude that we are all experiencing to weed the gardens of our mind. Remove old patterns of thinking. Go and take care of all those things that we've been putting off. I don't worry about what was because it's no longer here. It's gone. And I don't get fearful about what is happening right now. I get in motion accepting what is happening and then making a conscious choice to take the time to make changes in my world. Changes that not only benefit me, but benefit my community, benefit my city, benefit my state, benefit the world. Maybe I get in touch with people that I wanted to talk to and just were too busy to get in touch with. As I begin to cultivate my mind, I know that each and every day my thoughts will get a little bit more peaceful, a little less resistance, and a little more expectant of the good. It is a time where we have to place our attention on thoughts we think and let God take care of growing them. It is not our job to grow them. It is our job to just put them in there, just plant them. Our job is to simply be still and know that we are drawing strength and wisdom from the infinite. That all the faith and hope you plant in the garden of our mind will spring forth, creating a way of being for us that is filled with love, compassion, strength, hope, and courage. We don't know what this new normal is going to end up being like, but we do know that we can actively participate in cultivating a frame of mind that serves not only ourselves, but the world. So today I invite you to make a plan of what you want your new normal to look like, and then go and start cultivating the garden of your mind. Remember, you will always reap what you sow. So now in these challenging times, let us sow seeds that will help our world create a new normal that works for everybody. You hear of incidents where people are feeding each other, people are paying each other's bills, people are just getting out in the world, helping each other. We are doing the same type of behaviors that we do during the holidays. And everybody always says, why couldn't we do this all the time? Why do we only do this in December? Well, guess what? That's what's going on right now. We are doing that all the time. And I say, let that be our new normal. I go and I knock on my neighbor's door. Do you need anything? Can I take the trash down for you? How can I be supportive of you in these times? That is not something that I want to stop. That is something that I will continue to do. Before I end this morning, I want to say that some of us have been getting messages from God that we need to get busy doing things. I know that when I was ordained in 2014, Spirit said to me, create Circle of Consciousness Global Ministry. You will have an online ministry that's going to go global. And of course, in my infinite wisdom, I was like, okay, Lord, how is that going to happen? Well, it's happening. Today is my first sermon where it's going global. I know that people in other countries are looking at me and hearing me. And it just warms my heart because I know that I am going to be making an impact on this world. But before I can do that, I need to step back and make sure that I'm cultivating a mind within this body that supports me so that I can support others. I invite you to go out and share with others your divine perspective. Let them know that they don't have to be defined by what's going on in our world. Yes, we will have feelings about it. Yes, we will want to talk about it. But it doesn't have to define who we are. We do have the divine power to step into our new normal with courage and with love. Let's just do it. And do it now. The world needs a new divine perspective. And each one of us can bring that divine perspective into the world. We have an opportunity to face this challenge that we are all confronted with love, with courage, while still feeling the sadness that we may be feeling, while still understanding that we are out of this thing called control. We have no control. Understanding that each and every day may be a new normal. And that's okay. Because we have the divine power to say how we want to step into this world and how we want to support others to step with us. Thank you for tuning in today. I want to add a blessing to these words. I want to add a blessing to each and every one of you. And I say that we are all in this together. And I know we got a God that's so big and so powerful and so loving and so caring. we are going to be okay. And so